Hello, my friend, and thank you for checking out this video on the state of OA in 2025. In this webinar, we go over a ton of really great information for you. Quick little breakdown of what you can expect in this video. In the beginning portion, my brother Grant, co-owner of OA Cheddar, goes over how his 2024 recap in his own FBA business, where he was able to achieve 2.8 million in sales. He then goes into Q4 of 2024, where he was able to sell close to $1 million in sales. After that, we talk about how his FBA team is able to source and actually get these sales using OA Cheddar leads and OA Cheddar data. And he talks about their internal systems and how they're able to achieve that every single day. And then we go into the changes that we're going to be making at OA Cheddar in 2025. We launch a couple of new products that we're really excited about that on the live call itself were really popular. So you'll definitely want to check those out, as well as some of the changes that we're making, introducing some exciting training opportunities for all those who subscribe to OA Cheddar lists, and just so much more. So without further delay, let's go ahead and just hop right into the webinar. Thank you again for checking us out. And to learn more about who we are, go to oacheddar.com. Other than that, enjoy the show.
Beautiful. Everyone that's tuning in, thanks for joining us. Welcome. My name is Gabe Strom. I'm one of the co-founders of OA Cheddar. I'm joined by Grant Dunn. I don't know what order he is on the screen. Also co-founder, and Taylor Dunn, general manager extraordinaire slash a lot of things. Taylor wears a lot of hats. Oh, yeah. Slash software development manager slash support slash trainer slash Cheddar Black host. Taylor, appreciate you being here, man.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm actually literally, while you're saying all that and giving me my intro, I'm messaging back and forth to a customer who just signed up, trying to provide some of that support. So
yeah. Cool. Well, let me go ahead and do this intro. We'll go ahead and start. We've got a lot of great content for you guys today. When we were building this presentation, the comment came out that this may be the most generous, value-packed presentation we've built. And I think that's a bold statement, but we've really poured a lot in here. There's not a lot of, I think a lot of sellers are always curious. You know, Q4 comes, everyone gets hyped up. Q4 goes, the new year starts. And I think a lot of people are wondering, like, how did some of the seven-figure sellers turn out? You know, like, how did specifically, take Grant, I'm going to pick on you. You know, Grant, you've got access to, we both do, all the data that OA Cheddar provides. So how much money can you actually make? You know, how much profit is there on the table when you can source from everything, and how many leads do you actually buy? So we're going to peel back the curtain today and actually show you that, which is really rare. So make sure you've got a cup of coffee, a pen and paper to take notes today. We're going to cover a lot of great stuff. And if you apply what we teach you today, this presentation could be worth an extra 6 figures to you in 2025. That's a bold statement, and it's true. So welcome everybody. As we get started with the state of OA in 2025, Grant, if it's okay, we're going to cover all this content, and then at the end, we're going to talk about what's new. If any of you are jumping on here today on your lunch hour, and you only have a few minutes, you can go to OA Cheddar. The website's been updated at oacheddar.com. We do have a couple new lists we're going to talk about at the end of the presentation. If you guys are ambitious, there's nothing really stopping you right now from going to oacheddar.com and grabbing a spot on some of our new category-specific lists. I think that's the only teaser I'm going to give in advance, Grant. I just want to let you guys know that right up front. Because this will probably be over an hour today. I'm guessing. We'll do our best to get you guys back to your day, but we want to give you this information. So appreciate you guys all being here. Welcome to the state of OA in 2025. Welcome to the presentation. You're in the right spot if you're a reseller and you want to grow and make more money this year. So right off the bat, we want to thank you and acknowledge you for being here. There's a lot of places you could be on a Friday afternoon, morning, depending on what part of the country you're tuning in for. So thank you for investing your time with us. Our intention is to prosper you on this presentation and give you a return on your time. So our agenda, very quickly, we're going to talk about Q4 results. Number one, we're going to go through and break down. Grant, I'm going to just give a little teaser. You almost sold $1 million in Q4 alone, just shy of $1 million. And that translated to a six-figure profit payout for you, gross profit payout. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to break down all the numbers and a little teaser. We're going to talk about how you made an extra $19,000 doing merchant fulfilling alone. So you literally could have bought Cheddar Black as a customer and gotten an 8x return on your investment just from doing the merchant fulfilling. So for those of you that are in that group, you've seen Grant posting in the chat. We're going to cover those results. Number two, there's good news and bad news today. We're going to talk about Grant's almost suspension. And this is real talk. This is very close to his heart. He tears up when he talks about this a lot of times. And there's some lessons that are wrapped into this. It's the ugly part of our industry. It's kind of like the 500-pound gorilla. I think we all have a fear that's kind of in the back of our minds, but this is real. And there's a way to combat that. And Grant, I think you do a really, really good job of balancing that and keeping your head positive. So, and then number three, we're going to talk about the new list that we have for 2025. We are our market's changing, and we as a company are adapting to service you and give you the leads that you need. And I'll give you a little clue. Again, some of you guys can cheat. If you want to just go to oacheddar.com, you can go there right now and sign up for at any time during this presentation today and grab a spot on these lists. We have a very limited amount of inventory for these new lists, and we think you're really going to like them. So that's the teaser for this. So guys, our intention is to prosper you. Okay, I want you to pay attention to this presentation, the whole thing. Okay, there's a lot of great wisdom in here, and you're going to pick up little gold nuggets. One of the things we're notorious for on these presentations is under promising, over delivering. So you're going to hear Grant drop gold nuggets of things that he probably wasn't even planning on talking about. So keep your pen and paper handy to grab those. What's up, Leah Modlin? I see Leah in the chat, Bonnie Graham, Anita Kelly, David Mueller. I see a bunch of you guys. So welcome, everybody. All right. So very quickly, who is OA Cheddar? Guys, I put a suit jacket on for y'all today for the State of the Union address. These are our families, guys. We're all believers. We've delivered you guys a ton of leads over the years, 30,000 plus top shelf OA leads. It's been over 5 years now running. And we really pride ourselves on the quality that we produce. 12 plus active lists, and we all have beautiful wives and families. But we're just like you guys. We're entrepreneurs, and we do this for our kids. I'm guessing you guys are here, and you do this for your families as well. So this is who we are. And specifically, I want to edify my business partner, Grant Dunn. We had to update these slides. We had these slides from a year ago, and it originally said 12 million plus selling on Amazon. Grant just is coming off a banner year. I'll let him toot his own horn, but he's did over $2.8 million in sales in 2024. So now 13 million plus sold on Amazon, and he started back in 2014. So that makes you in regular entrepreneurs years, Grant, this is like 40 years in the industry.
Right.
And e-commerce years. So you've been married 15 years, your beautiful wife, Ashley, you got 3 boys. Co-founder of OA Cheddar, co-founder of our software platform, and you're a regular dude. You used to be a plumber. You got sick of being a plumber. You wanted to be home with your family more, and that inspired the growth of OA Cheddar. Now, I want to say this, guys, Grant would never toot his own horn like this, so I'm just edifying him so you guys know that you're going to learn from a master today. This is a guy that's in the trenches. It's like the hair growth commercial. We're not just a customer. I'm also the founder, or whatever that quote is. I'm wearing 2 different hats. But Grant would never tell you this. He's super humble, guys. He just does this for his family. He works his ass off. I think I can say that on the platform. One of the hardest working guys that I know. Same with you, Taylor. And this is what makes the wheels go round for you guys. So a lot of you look at Grant, you think, wow, it must be nice, right, to have all those leads and be sitting at the helm of OA Cheddar. Well, I can tell you, he works harder than anybody that I've met in this space, so it must be nice to reap the results when you work hard. That's the truth. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Grant, I'm excited to jump right in with you. I'm going to turn it over. You've prepared to kind of go over and cover your stats. So without further ado, Grant Dunn, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Well, Gabe, thanks. First of all, guys, today I'm going to talk about how we leveraged, and I say we because I appreciate everything Gabe said, and but what he said about Taylor is very true. And behind Taylor and myself, are an amazing team of virtual assistants, not just at OA Cheddar, but also in our small but mighty personal team. And so it's definitely a we thing. And so in Q4 of 2024, we sold just under $1 million. You can see there, 935,000. I'm going to be talking about how I did that, right? And again, how we did that. Gabe, you said I work really hard. I got to say, man, in terms of the Amazon business, I feel like I work less and less and less every year, which is really the goal, right? To a certain degree, to replace ourselves in the business and develop a team over time. And it's taken 10 years, 11, 12 years, whatever it is, to get to this point. So here we go. All right. So how this translates into $107,000 in gross profit. I say gross because obviously I got to pay for my prep center, my VAs, and other additional, other business expenses out of that. But that's gross profit for Q4. So here's the 2024 results. Just proof, right? Just to show you guys that we're not just blowing smoke. We actually did it. Somehow the numbers are conflicted. I'm not really sure what that is. Maybe because of when I pulled this report. I'm not exactly sure, but 2,855,000 in Q4. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then 935,000 in, excuse me. Okay. I got to go back, guys. I've got a little confused there for a second. 2.8 for the year. This is 2024. And if you guys have been around for a little while, you've heard us talk about like our plan to scale up our business and double the size of our business. So just like 18 months ago, we were generally selling somewhere between 100 and 150,000 per month. And now we're in that $250,000 to $300,000 range. So we essentially have doubled the size of our store in about 18 months. And that's what you're essentially looking at here. I would estimate that next year, if we continue to do if we don't scale any larger, we'll see well over $3 million in 2025. Because we've essentially built to that stage and we kind of got there right around like August. And then we went through Q4 and that's where we are today. So here's Q4, $935,000 in sales, biggest Q4 for us by a long shot. When I looked at this, I was surprised, right? It's like almost $1 million. Had I known we were going to get this close, I might have pushed a little harder to see if we could break that, 7-figure number, but super excited about that. Super grateful for the team that helped us get there. This is the FBM sales only. So as you guys know, when we do Cheddar Black, a big part of what we are helping sellers model after us is with FBM, because there's that special opportunity to really take advantage of fulfilling your own products and identifying products that are profitable right in the middle of peak season, buying them, listing them, and shipping them. And kind of just, circumventing the FBA model. And so that's what we did. This is about, compared to our biggest Q4 merchant fulfill, which was last year, Taylor, I want to say it was like $50,000 or $60,000 that we did in merchant fulfill orders before last year. Does that sound about right?
It sounds pretty close. Yes. Actually, I think you can see it right down there below.
Oh, yeah.
Screenshot, 60,343 from last year. And then this year we did 101,000.
And I will tell you guys that, I think what I found out this year was this is the capacity for me as an individual. And I even had Taylor's help. Taylor specifically helped with picking up video games and also shipping video games from his home. So even with that help from him, I think this is like me tapping out. I don't know if without additional help and employees, which I really not interested in doing, or a prep center that's doing FBM for me, I don't see myself being able to really do more than 100K. Obviously, you can see that the majority of this is happening in pretty much almost all of it is happening within a 4-week period of time. So working my royal butt off for those 4 weeks. Cyber Monday is kind of a nuts that you see 100, 150 orders come in a very short amount of time during those that 24-hour period of time. And basically the way my life looks for about 2.5 of those weeks is I wake up, get out of bed, walk to the garage, start fulfilling orders, once that's done and I got that caught up, I'm going to the porch and grabbing stuff that got delivered that day off the porch. Cause you got to realize before these sales happen, we're buying and buying and buying and buying, like in the weeks leading up to, Cyber Monday or Black Friday. So by the time that actually hits, right, all the inventory that we've been spying on and picking is showing up as well. So it's like a frenzy of fulfilling orders and then opening up boxes, getting stuff listed, organizing it in the garage, and then reorganizing it, and then reorganizing it again over and over and over again. It's a process, but it's fun. I've said this before, guys. If you are on the fence about doing FBM during Q4 because you're afraid you don't have the energy or the capacity or the desire, I promise you that if you lay the groundwork in like late October, November, and you're doing the research, and you have the data and you're finding those winners and preparing yourself to have those in stock to ship to customers during the peak season, the demand for the products that you purchased alone will be your motivation. That will get you up out of bed and excited to take it on. It's like it's really cool, actually. It's something that surprised me last year because I wasn't really sure I wanted to do this. And even this year, I was like, gosh, dude, do I really want to do this? But then when you're in it, you're like, yeah, this is fun, right? I'm having fun. I'm a little stressed out, right? But I'm having fun. So year over year, this is our Q4 2023. Like I said, 18 months ago, we started this initiative to double the size of our store. So we're already like 6 months into that by the time you're looking at Q4 2023. And we did 563,000. This year, as we already stated, a little over 900. And it's about a 66.7% increase from the previous Q4, assuming that the calculator I found on Google was accurate. So yeah, pretty cool, right? And you can kind of spot the growth through the year, right? We did $500,000 in Q1 this year, or last year, excuse me. 800,000 in Q2, another 800,000 roughly in Q3, and then the increase for Q4. And what I find interesting too is I will say, like, I've had Q4s where it just blew all the other. In the early stages of my business, I've had Q4s that just blew out like every other part of the year. And I've noticed as I've gotten my store has grown, and maybe it's just the way that I'm setting my store up. Q4 is really good, but it's not that much bigger or better than other month or other quarters, right? And partly being maybe because of our inventory, we're heavy into shoes and clothes, and so obviously like back to school season is really good for us, and stuff like that. Okay, so Q4 gross profit. Here's just a screenshot from my inventory lab account. You can see it says net profit on here because it's not factoring in my overhead, but $107,000 in net profit against $914,000 in sales. Again, not exactly sure why, all of the different systems seem to have different reporting. I think inventory lab might be a little behind at this point on registering all the sales that Seller Central is reporting on. Or there's something I don't understand about. It doesn't matter. 11.7% gross profit gross profit margin in Q4, which is a little above our average. Outside of Q4, we're in that 9 to 10% gross profit margin range, depending on what we're selling and liquidating. Now we're looking at FBM only. So this is, I had to pull a different report from merchant sales inside of Inventory Lab, and I'm essentially taking the $51 per average order price and multiplying that by the 1,900 orders there, and that gives me a total of, that gives me the order total, the sales value. But if I divide the average profit against the average order price, it comes to about 18.9% profit margin for a total of about $19,000 in profit. Now, to be fair, no smoke and mirrors around here. Like, if you guys have been around us, I haven't actually seen webinars like ours where we're as transparent about what's actually happening inside the business, unless maybe you pay like a super big fee to see that kind of stuff. But to be fair, like, I did not extrapolate the cost of shipping materials, right? So it's not quite 19,000, right? I just want to be perfectly honest. There's obviously some shipping materials, boxes, poly bags, and stuff like that I didn't factor in, but it's several $100s, maybe $1,000 to $1,500. Okay.
Well, and Grant, in all fairness too, I also don't think you're adding in gift card, cash back, and those types of savings on that end either. into this number.
Of course. Right. Yeah. So I'm not going to spend days trying to figure out the exact penny, but you guys can kind of read between the lines here. But good point, Taylor, right? There's cashback, credit card points, gift card savings. That's all built into this as well that I'm not calculating. So maybe it's a sort of a wash. Okay. So we talk about video games every year. It's not a new strategy. We do it every year. We buy Black Friday games, pre-Black Friday, post-Black Friday. We're buying games at super good prices. And I would say generally the margin's pretty low on video games, right? You're buying $30 games and trying to make sure your hope is that you at least make like $4 or $5, and you might get lucky and make $7 or $8 on some games. But you can see the averages here, the average profit per console. And I would say I made one mistake. There's one thing that we're going to do differently this year, and the PS5 games just did not work like the other games. Like Xbox and Nintendo seemed to work. And I'm sitting on some PS5 games where I'm like, okay, gonna have to like sell these at a loss probably or break even. And so that's kind of what I have. And so I would say for sure, guys, it's different every year. I will say, like, we never really know which games are going to perform better or what Amazon's going to do with pricing or how much inventory they're going to have. I'll just say it seemed like this year, Amazon and other merchants had a lot of PS5, right? Whereas they were going out of stock on the Switch games and the Xbox games, and we sold through those pretty aggressively. And we don't have any stock left over that we're really feeling like we're going to have to liquidate.
One thing I want to point out about this strategy, though, is they have lower returns, but this is probably one of the easiest merchant fulfill items that we did. It was video games. You guys, we bought these up. We did store pickups. It consisted of a couple of days of having to make a couple of trips back to the same Walmart. We were buying store. We were doing store pickups on games that started selling after Cyber Week, right? Mm-hmm. And then as far as fulfillment, super easy. Slide it into a padded envelope, slap a label on it, ship it. So even though it's a low, the profit, and it's a lower return on investment, the ease of making that $4,000 was really, chalked up to maybe a couple of days worth of work and easy fulfillment after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, the difference of sliding a game in an envelope compared to building a box, you're talking about probably 25% as much time to fulfill those orders. So you can rip through 100 video game orders really fast. So good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Taylor. And I don't know if this is a good tip for you guys, but if you're doing volume, at least this is how I did it this year, and I found it to be a little bit more efficient. If you're doing volume in merchant fulfill orders, what I did is I would just print off all the packing slips in a strip, and then I would go through and I'd make sure I ordered my order. I filtered my orders the same way. And then I would go through and buy all of the shipping. Obviously, once you've already shipped an item, it has that like the dimensions and weight already saved. And so, I'm going through and printing off all of the shipping labels, buying shipping and printing that off, and then tearing all of my packing slips, laying them down, tearing all of my shipping labels, laying them down. And then I just grab the whatever on the top of the pile for each and fulfill the order. I found that to be probably for me the fastest way to, or at least the most efficient way for me to fulfill lots of orders quickly. Then I got suspended, or I got this terrible email on December 10th, my wife's birthday, sadly, right? Saying that I had a critical violation on my account. So I'm right in the middle of all of it. And I got a confirmed counterfeit, right? Again, telling you guys straight here. I will tell you guys, like, it hurt, right? I thought, this is actually it. I think I'm done. It said, you have a critical violation. You need to respond immediately. Essentially, I think I had 3 days before I would experience a permanent suspension, I guess is what it was kind of saying, something along those lines. Obviously, the first thing I did is I contacted Jeff Schick's team, specifically our friend Leah, who calmed my nerves. And, she says, all right, go into your account, click through the violation. What are your options? I'm almost getting emotional now, honestly, dude. Because it's scary. We all know you put all your life into this, and then you're afraid something stupid, one little mistake could take it all away. She says, what are your options? And one of my options was essentially to admit guilt, right? This is not advice to do this. If you find yourself in this situation, my advice is contact Jeff Schick's team. If you're lucky enough to know Leah personally, contact her. Sorry, Leah, if you're like,
yeah, I was gonna say she might be like cursing your name right now.
Here's her cell phone. It's 872.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Leah. Go ahead. This is real. No, it's real, man. We all like everyone. I think is afraid of getting this, Grant. I remember talking to you that day, Grant, when you got it. I was worried about you. You were not in a good state of mind. You were very, very pessimistic, very down. This is the end of the world. I think I'm done. Like, and you've been suspended before. Like, I've seen you get suspended. I've seen you get almost suspended several times. And so this time I thought I was worried about you. But so what happened? What did working with Leah, how'd that pan out?
Well, the first thing obviously is we investigated where we purchased the item, and unfortunately, and I'm sad to report, I hate even admitting this, because it seems like just a big miss for us, and that we shouldn't be making these types of mistakes at this point in our career. But during one of our webinar days, Taylor had passed off, which is normal, right? Passed off the approval process for leads that we buy to our VAs. They happened to purchase a aftermarket part and we listed it on OEM listing. And I will also point out that my prep center, not saying anything negative, I love my prep center, but they also missed this. So I feel like, it went through a few layers of someone should have caught this and noticed that something was wrong. And we didn't. We missed it. The brand purchased it and confirmed that it was a aftermarket part. And they submitted the critical claim, the basically counterfeit with a test buy. As far as we know, we actually need to be continuing to work with communicating with the brand to try to get a retraction, even though we were able to select that option, essentially admitting to Amazon that we screwed up. I love this. Like, Jeff Schick's team saved my bacon a few years ago, got a counterfeit with a test buy, reversed by the brand. Ugh. Okay. So like, even though I got to select this option, and I will tell you, I selected that option, and Leah said, Grant, you're so lucky to have this option. Not every account has this option. This is why we don't admit guilt. We always try to get retractions. We always try to get the appeals through. And this is like a last resort to admit that you did something wrong. But in about 6 hours later, so when I got this violation, right, my almost 800 account health score, there wasn't even a 0. There was like a no score. And it was, I was like, oh no. Within about 6 hours, it was restored, and Leah knew exactly what to expect. She, again, we were lucky to have that as an option, but we may not have that option in the future. And that is kind of the position I'm in right now. Is it's possible that one more critical violation like that, and I've never had one in 12 years of doing this, could be something that is extremely detrimental to us. And so we're hopeful it doesn't happen again.
So Grant, or go ahead, Taylor.
Well, and just so you guys know too, that if we are able to get the retraction from the brand owner, odds are we should be able to have that option again to admit fault, according to a call that we had with one of Amazon's reps. So that's why we're trying to get this retraction, even though it doesn't affect us on an account health level. It is important for us to have kind of that, I call it our get out of jail free card, kind of that, safety net. So we are going to be actively getting that retraction, to the best of our abilities. Shout out Jeff's team again; they're helping us with that. So
yeah. So Leah, in case that fell through the cracks, we're still hopeful, and maybe we need to contact them personally. I'm not really sure. That's maybe a conversation we need to have. I just want to point out, Leah mentioned in here, you're lucky. Some people have to submit letters of authorization in the same situation. So yes, we got really lucky, guys. Again, don't do anything if this happens. If you get anything like this on your account, don't do anything without professional help first. All right, guys, as I said before, about 6 hours after working through that process with Leah, our account health was restored. This is a screenshot of what our account health looks like today. The best I've ever had is right over 800, and we're trying to continue to grow. But we, over the last 18 months, I'd say 2 years, we've just steadily seen our account health score increase and improve. But that doesn't mean that we can't be affected by serious mistakes. Taylor, I want you to talk about this because when this happened to us, obviously the conversation started going like, what do we need to be doing that we're not doing now to protect us and subscribers of OA Cheddar? So I'll let you run from here on this one.
Absolutely. So after, of course, after these things happened, we changed some standards in our own personal FBA business, but also we took some of those changes to the OA Cheddar team as well. One of them being stricter standards on our sources. Okay. Make sure that we're checking, verifying as best as we possibly can. I've alerted the team now, basically at this point, if it's a new supplier, have it run through me first and get my okay before we source it. OEM parts only. So we don't even gamble with the aftermarket parts, or the websites that are, saying, or at least, I wouldn't say that they're, admittedly saying like this is an OEM part, but they're sneakily hiding the fact that it's an aftermarket part. We've just had a strict rule. It has to be coming from the brand itself or, a reputable supplier like, say Sears, right? Where it is, it's a genuine part. And then in terms of service, one of the things we also changed leading into the new year, just to get ahead of it, was multi-pack leads, only TOS compliant multi-pack leads on the leads that we're sharing. Drastically, it does hurt us when it comes to lead gen. It's easier to find, multi-packs are obviously a great OA side of things, but to us, don't even risk it, especially in 2025. Amazon's getting stricter, so we are also trying to make sure we're following their rules. So this came out of that suspension, afterwards. And also one thing for us on a personal level is, all the FBA buys, all the inventory purchases still need to go through my eyes or Grant's eyes before we make that final pull. We love our team, but ultimately it's our responsibility. And I would feel worse. I'd rather be the one that made the mistake than to have an account shut down because one of my amazing VAs, didn't realize something that I should have known. Right. So those are some things that we've changed around there.
So
the fact of the matter, go ahead, buddy.
I just want to comment. So this all you guys didn't know this. Like we obviously didn't broadcast this. All this challenge happened behind the scenes. What it's important for you to know is that we've got stronger by it. Our leads are more secure because of it. And every time like one of these obstacles come, there's always a silver lining and a blessing in disguise. And the blessing in disguise for you, the value add for you as our subscriber, is we tighten up and strengthen the leads that we deliver to you. And so why are we telling you guys this? We could have easily just brushed this under the rug. We really value transparency at OA Cheddar. And I don't know any other leadless providers that do this kind of stuff. And we're friends with a lot of them. They just shove leads out the door. That's the reality. And we just want you guys to have confidence knowing that when you source from OA Cheddar, you've got this backing and the leads that you don't get other places. So Grant, I'm sorry this had to happen, but for the sake of our subscribers, it's probably for the best. So,
yeah, they're like you mentioned, providers that shove leads out, and I agree. There's a bunch of those, but there are very good leadless providers as well that we are friends with, and so I just want to make sure that we edify those. We're not going to speak directly about who we're talking about, but there's good providers out there, right? Other than OA Cheddar, if we're being completely honest, we're biased and believe that we, set the bar. But there's other great providers and leaders out there selling leads. Not all of them. Okay, so we're back to business. Here we go. So let's talk about our most profitable ASINs in Q4. So this is the top 8 ASINs that I sold, that we sold in Q4 this year. And I just wanted to point out that you can see that these leads literally come right out of the Cheddar vault, right? If you can see right here, some of my best sellers and most profitable listings, sorted from most profit at the top and down, came directly off of Cheddar Black. Some of them were Amazon flips that I shared with Cheddar Black. There were like some amazing Amazon flips that I sunk thousands of dollars into personally and made really good money. Wish I would have bought a lot more, actually. So that's the top 8. The top 8 ASINs. Again, we're very wide, right? And we're talking about $100+ thousand in gross profit from Q4 specifically. Well, a little over 10% of that came from the top 8 ASINs. And guys, we're just these. And you'll also notice that many of these, I think you can see it on here, or maybe you can't. in this specifically, but many of these were merchant fulfilled listings. These were things that we identified at OA Cheddar, delivered to our subscribers, and then Taylor or myself spotted them and put them essentially on our watch list. And when we thought we had a winner, we grab a few, and then basically we're paying attention to stock levels. And then as it starts to sell in the peak season, we're going, okay, can we get more? And we're looking at it. Sometimes we're buying from multiple sources. As you can see, I didn't even cover that up. Sorry, the screenshot's a little blurry, I'm noticing, but I think that's because I took the screenshot from over here instead of over here. Here is the top 9 through 18. So again, just it all comes from OA Cheddar. I took these ASINs, I went into Smart Data and Cheddar Soft. I was like, where did it come from? And they came from OA Cheddar. So again, as you can see, as we get out of those top ASINs that we were focusing the majority of our time on, the profits start to spread, right? And we're selling on during this entire fourth quarter, I'd say, without being too specific, well over 2,000 listings. So we're very wide and shallow generally. So that gives you kind of a look at what's going on. Now I want to talk about why leads lists, right? Why am I an advocate of lead lists? Personally, we use lead lists, right? We don't have anybody on our team that is out there doing the first layer of research. All of the leads that we use in our business, the first layer of research comes from the lead gen team that basically runs OA Cheddar. And then we have our small team now, and I'll be talking about this a little more, that goes through and finds other opportunities that are, I would say, maybe another layer or two deep, but that's about it, right? We're not drilling in that much because we have so many leads to buy. We just play inside of Smart Data and Cheddar Soft all day long, right? That's what our team does. So to give you just a quick breakdown, if you were to pay a VA $5 an hour, give them basically a full-time position, and they were capable of finding 5, let's say, Cheddar quality leads, that's going to cost you $800 or $800, 5 Cheddar quality leads per day, excuse me. That's going to run your lead cost at about $8 per lead. Now, the benefit of this is you can customize your sourcing, right? You can tell your team, or you can individually focus on the brands and the suppliers and the profits and all that stuff that you specifically want, whatever your standards are. The downside is you're going to have to invest into the training. You're going to have to manage the team, and it's going to cost you time, right? On the flip side, with a $199 subscription to, say, Cheddar 25, you're going to see 200 leads a month at a cost of about 99 cents. So significantly less cost. And I'm a huge advocate for lead list. I honestly, if I were to talk to any individual about what they should do, right, I would say start with lead list and then drill in further from there. The pro of a lead list is you get more leads for less money. The leads are pre-vetted, which gives you a ton of exposure, right, to what works, and it's consistent, right? When a couple of our team members go down with the flu, you guys, as a subscriber of OA Cheddar, nothing changes, right? And so that's how that works. The downside would be it's not customizable, right? You got to source from the leads that we deliver. And you're competing with other sellers. But I want to talk about competing with other sellers because I think that's the biggest objection by a long shot of using a lead list, and I think it's absolutely nonsense. I don't think that you're going to see more necessarily more competition because it's just because a lead is on a leads list, and you never really know if a lead is on a lead list, even if you found it through your own efforts anyway.
True.
So I'm gonna kind of drill down into that point. Out of the 41,000 leads that OA Cheddar delivered in 2024, in my own account, we only sold on 9,233 unique ASINs. At least, assuming this report is accurate, I would assume it is, right? I've never really felt like Inventory Lab was way off. And so that is only 22% of the ASINs we delivered. Now, you might say, well, that's because you're only buying all the best stuff, Grant. Not true. Usually, right, Taylor and I talked about this a little bit. Usually I would say pretty much every day, we're not coming in and buying the leads for several hours after they've been delivered. So we get this question a lot. Well, are you pulling off the best stuff and sourcing that for your own account and then not, and then delivering the trash to subscribers? It's like, no, we actually couldn't afford to do that, right? We got to give you the best we have all the time, and we always are. So the best leads we find are on our lists. And like I said, we're often not getting to the list until like, what do you say, Taylor, 11, 12 o'clock?
Yeah, our time. So at our time, the leads get delivered at 8 a.m. We are not placing our first order normally until right now noon because of daylight savings. That will then become 1 p.m. When daylight savings time is over. And like, just for example, like today, I haven't looked at any of the leads other than the handful that I checked this morning before delivery, just to make sure that we got everything checked. And I won't be able to get to it, until after this webinar. So we normally are, the idea of that we're jumping in right after delivery and buying everything up. That's the best stuff. We are not getting into it that early.
The other thing go ahead.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this up, Grant, because we get this. I see all the support questions that come in, and we get this question like 1 out of 5 emails. But so essentially, on a list of 20 people, let's take our Cheddar 20. Grant, you're a 7-figure seller. A lot of people put you up on a pedestal. Oh, Grant, must do all this stuff. You're only buying 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 leads. So that's like 70-80% of the leads that you guys are seeing. A 7-figure seller, the guy that has access to all the data, is not buying. So if you're sharing a lead list with 19 other people, like not everybody's buying everything. I'm so glad you made this, because we've been on our soapbox for years saying this, and we had no way to really prove it other than people don't have infinite budgets. Grant, you guys sold 2.8 million. You guys run out of budget every single day, every single month. If you're on a list and you guys are arguably, on the higher end, there's sellers in our OA Cheddar that sell more than you guys, but most people sell less. And so you guys, you're just not sharing leads with everybody. Okay. And I want to get that point across, because I think it's a false belief. So I appreciate you putting this together, Grant.
Well, and I want to speak to this too a little bit, because there have been seasons where it's not that we only buy the ones that we like, which, I mean, that's true. We buy what we like first, right? But there have been seasons for us this last year where we were buying a little bit of everything that was coming on the list and casting that net that we use extremely wide. But we quickly ran out of budget, and then it quickly became, well, hey, we can only, we only have this much left to spend. Let's not just throw it out. Let's be a little bit more precise. And I think that just goes, lends credit to everyone has a budget. There are certain items that our prep center doesn't allow, so we just avoid them. We're not big, for example, like in perfumes. We're not a big perfume salesman, our store. But I know sellers who love perfumes. That's their niche. So we also source within our niche as well, because that's what we're comfortable with and what we know.
Yep. Very good point. So yeah, hopefully that kind of dispels this assumption that if I get on a leads list, I'm dealing with increased competition. I would actually argue there's no difference. The only difference is you're paying less on a leads list than if you were to do it yourself. Now, if you're I get it. There's like superhero level sourcers out there. And if that's you and you've invested the hundreds of hours it takes to get to that level, like, I'm not speaking to you, right? Generally, I'm probably speaking to everybody that hasn't really became a sourcing expert yet, or they want to get more for their more bang for the buck, right? So how did we scale to 2.8 million over the last we jumped into OA, Taylor, in like 2019. So, and then we were kind of in a mix there for a while. And then we're probably, 4 years of being strictly OA. Guys, we started for the longest time to like from no OA to 1.5 million a year. We just sourced off of the delivered data, and we would like teach you guys, like, you should go through the replens. You should variation source. You should expand on the leads that we deliver, all while we just didn't have the capacity, I guess, or the desire to drill any deeper. And we were happy with where we were at until we decided, all right, bigger store, bigger profit, helps pay the bills. Let's go for it. Did we start to expand into these other things I'm going to talk about? So I would argue that one could scale up a high low 7-figure, 1 to 1.5, maybe even $2 million store, if you were to subscribe to all of OA Cheddar, and we have sellers that actually do this, right? That they pretty much buy delivered data, they buy all of OA Cheddar leads, and they sell well over $1 million a year, and they're loving it, right? You could do that just sourcing fresh data. For us, when we wanted to start ramping up and scaling, right, and figured out, okay, how do we go from 1.5 million to closer to 3 million? The first thing we did was like, well, let's start replanning what sells. And we've taught on this, guys. We'll continue to teach on how we do this. It's really nothing fancy. We go through our orders and we buy the stuff that's selling that we're like, yep, we can buy more of that, and it's selling profitably right now, right? And that's essentially it, right? We have a couple other ways to drill into Inventory Lab to pull these winners out, and that's essentially what we're doing. Is we throw stuff into the hopper, we throw delivered data into, let's say, the funnel, right? And then as winners come out of those, as soon as they start to come out, we're trying to see, okay, can we buy more, right? And how many more should we buy? And we're using the data that we're collecting internally. Because again, you could look at a Keepa graph, you could look at the competition, and you could say, well, I'm only going to get 3 sales a month. However, you go and buy those 3 units and you sell them in 3 days. And you go, wait a second, right? Maybe I need to go buy 10. You buy 10 and you sell it in a week. And so we have regularly and consistently found that we can actually sell a lot more inventory than what we would assume based off of Keepa data alone. Those of you that are selling on Walmart, you know that right now at Walmart, it's all about your own data, right? We don't have Keepa on Walmart, right? We don't have the statistics. And I think what happens as sellers, we rely so much on Keepa, right? We have this happen where sellers will reach out to us. Well, the leads aren't any good. It's like, how many did you test? Show me some of the leads that you tested. Well, I haven't. I judged it off of the Keepa graph only. Yep. Okay. Well, maybe you should start testing some stuff out, because we test stuff out. We find winners. This, right? Yeah. Like there it is. So for us, we probably, we started moving beyond the 1.5 million a year mark, or I'd say $150,000 roughly on top end months. We started scaling beyond that. Yeah, fastest way to scale for sure, right? And that's probably another point of why we maybe if I were to look at previous years, we would have sourced more of OA Cheddar leads. But since we're really drilled into this replan model, and we're really trying to find as much replans as we can, that's probably another reason why we're on fewer ASINs than maybe ever before in terms of what gets delivered. Taylor, do you have anything to say about our replan model, how we do that? Anything, any tips you could provide to the group?
Yeah. It was one of the easiest things that we did. We turned this on really in January of 2024 when we brought on our first VA. And this was the first job I told her was we went into Inventory Lab. We pulled an ASIN profitability report for about a 2-week chunk of time, about a month ago, previously in that history. And we just organized everything by, what sold the most or what sold for the most profit. And she would just go down that list. She would open it up in CheddarSoft, look at the Keepa graph and go, I think this might be worth buying, adds it to a buy list. And then I would do the final review. So the VA would do the legwork of going through maybe, 100 different listings. She might pull out 20 of those listings for me to review. And then from there, we were replanning based off those 20. And I would analyze, this is before she started doing it for us, but I'd go, okay, well, we sold 5. Okay. When did we start? When did the listing go live and when did we sell out? Okay, we sold 5 within 2 weeks. Okay, well, basic math would say that if everything stays the same, I should be able to sell 10 within a month. And then we would try to replan that 10. We try to keep a month supply coming in, and we would test that again. And that was it. So we started with ASIN profitability. She does things like she'll go into our orders off Seller Central. She'll look at what we sold yesterday. If we sell an item multiple times in a day, that's usually a big sign that we want to replenish it. So she'll find that low hanging fruit. And the great thing is, guys, is a lot of times she does that way. She's finding stuff that, maybe was delivered on a lead list 3 weeks prior. So we're able to see like the competition that's coming in, what's happened to the price. I'll say you'll be surprised at how often that competition doesn't spike through the roof. It's, it raises by 3 or 5 sellers, but usually not too much more than that. And then over time, we started playing around with, okay, well now let's look at what we sold last Easter. Let's look at what we sold last Christmas season. Let's play around with the upcoming, what do we sell in March? right? Let's look at March. Is there anything from last year that we might want to buy now? And that was it. It started with ACE and profitability. We did a little bit in Seller Central. And then at that point, we kind of let her go free, and she started, trying things all her different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's easy to do. It's you got to create the system, put it in place, and then put someone at the helm of that responsibility and let it rip.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is really where when we set out to double our revenue 18 months ago, this was the first move we made. The second move we made, as we started to develop our team and trust them more, and they had firm understanding on what their job was, we started to drill into, again, stuff we've been talking about and encouraging our audience and subscribers to do for years, drilling into rabbit trailing, like bring in that data that comes from OA Cheddar and start drilling into the variations, start drilling into the sale and promo. What do I have? What does the leads that OA Cheddar has delivered lead us to, right? What's behind? What's one layer deeper, 2 layers deeper behind the data that OA Cheddar delivers? And this is really where the meat and potatoes is because if you already are really good at selling on Amazon, or you understand this model, and you're looking at this graph right here and you're going, yeah, I understand all these things. I'm relatively proficient in all of these ideas here. The thing is you could take one lead list and multiply it 3-4 times its value, just exercising this funnel right here, right? And so, Taylor, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I would argue that we're barely getting our feet wet into drilling into like variations and rabbit trailing and sales and promos. Like, we're at 2.8 million this last year, and we're mainly doing steps 1 and 2, and step 3 is just kind of an afterthought.
Yep. No, that came with expanding our VA team. So as of right now, on the sourcing side of the FBA business, we have 1.5, VAs. We have one full-time VA, and her job is she places orders. So she's actually placing the orders for us. She's, and then she splits the rest of her time doing replen type work. We also have another VA that we brought in on a part-time level, and she also does, we call it replenning, but she's rabbit trailing, variation sourcing. She looks at the stuff that we ordered that day and goes through and goes, well, what else can I buy? For example, if I buy a pair of Nike shoes, she'll go through and she'll examine the other variations, the different colors, and she'll add them to our buy list for us to purchase the next day. So we are not scratching the surface of this. There is way more rabbit trailing. There's way more variation sourcing, and there's way more sourcing from old lead data that we've never purchased that we're simply not doing. Just because, one, we're hitting our goals, we're still scaling, we're still growing at a consistent rate, right? We don't want to jump up and then we anyway.
Well, I would say at this point we're pretty happy with where we're at store size, and I don't expect us to really try hard to scale this year. If anything, we'll probably just drill deeper into step 3 on this image here. To expand what we're doing and maybe diversify our catalog a little bit more. But yeah, we're happy with where we landed with this initiative to double our store. We feel like we've essentially done that, and yeah, so let's move on. So all right,
well, real quick, Grant, real quick,
Sure.
Quick question for you guys in chat. How many of you guys source just fresh leads? So put a 1 in chat if you only source fresh leads. Put a 2 in chat if you source fresh leads plus you replen what sells, or put a 3 if you're like Leah and you just drill in deep to rabbit trails. And I'm just curious where the majority of you guys are. And Grant, I appreciate you sharing that. I think a lot of people think there's like sophisticated sourcing. They see your store and they think you must be doing some crazy stuff. It's Grant. Taylor works for your store, and you said you have 1.5 VAs that work for your sourcing. This is not a huge operation. This is, I mean, Grant's a solo seller like a lot of you guys. So looks like, I'm going to just read a couple of these off. So Silas is a 2, Ed Dassey 2 to 3, Martin Stevens 2, Diego 2, Robert 3. Looks like most people, Grant, are kind of in the 1 or 2 stage for the most part. And I think it's just hopefully it's helpful for you guys to see where other people are at. Grant, I just wanted to highlight that because whether it's because you're so busy, whether it's because it's a little bit of laziness, like, you just buy a lot of fresh leads, and I think a lot of people see that,
We're right on the front line. I mean, as an owner of OA Cheddar, right, we get to see all the data. And this is one thing I'm glad you brought this up, actually, because a seller, I think, could do exactly what we're doing, right? If OA Cheddar was the beginning of their business, right? Or let's just say leadless in general, right? It doesn't have to be OA Cheddar. We would prefer it is. I think it's the best list out there. But I believe that a seller could do everything that we're doing in our account with half as many OA Cheddar subscriptions. Because we're just not drilling into, again, you'd have to have that specialized knowledge, and you would have to train your team to do this or train yourself to do this. But no question about it, we're probably only maximizing the value of each lead list because we have so much leads to play with. We're probably only maximizing each list worth by like 40 to 50% of its true value. Right. Yeah. So I would argue that a seller could come in and buy 4 or 5 OA Cheddar subscriptions, and then deploy their team or their specialized knowledge into stage 3, stage 2, and specifically stage 3, and blow up a $3 million a year store, no problem. I'm not saying you can do that in your first year or even your second year. There's things to consider, obviously, and a lot of things to learn if you're very new. But that's my opinion, and we've seen it happen. I mean, again, we're not just blowing smoke and telling you guys what we think. Like because we have had hundreds and hundreds of sellers come through and use our services over the last, 7 years or so. We've seen this over and over and over again, right? So, and we have sellers that are in our community now that are doing it. So,
right on. Hey, real quick question before you go to the pajama story. Okay. Robert asked this question. This is for Taylor. This is for you. He asked. He likes to source leads off lead lists that have a minimum of 50 sales per month. That's a really tough criteria. So I don't know any lead list that meets that, but you want to speak into that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say this. One, you're absolutely right, Gabe. 50 plus sales per month. Trying to say that as a minimum is a very high standard. And I don't think there's any lead lists out there that does that. But I would also point out, I don't agree with that idea of like, how are you figuring out your 50 plus sales per month? Right? Are you just utilizing, what Keepa is telling me I should sell this 50 times? Because I've seen leads where Keepa says it sells 300 times a month and it really doesn't. Right? And it's counting stock movement. This is the problem with tools. We can't rely on tools for all of our decision making. Right? Mm-hmm. There are leads that we have shared that I am currently still selling on, that if you were to look at it, Keepa saying it's selling less than 20 times per month. The sales rank drops are super slow looking. And yet on that same lead, we are selling it 30 plus, 40 plus times a month. No problem. And that is what the whole point of what we're making is get your actual data. Our funnel is simple. We have access to a ton of data that is already pre-vetted. So we are not wasting our time looking at ones that don't even make sense. We then buy a vast majority of that, spread our net really wide. And then we look at the actual data that is happening to our store, how our store performs with our feedback, our location, our quantity. And then we make replenishing decisions based off of that. And there are items that are sometimes we think should be fast sellers that are really slow. And there are times where slow sellers are actually really fast. Mm-hmm. And so if we are, as a leadless company, said we're only sharing leads that are showing 50 plus sales per month, according to Keepa, one, we would be delivering a whole lot less leads to you guys. And there'd be a whole lot less opportunity that we're exposing to you, because we are putting a standard that's so high that only a small percentage of items could do that. And based on our years of experience, that would be a huge disservice to you guys and to ourselves. Frankly, we would hurt our business if we kept that standard. I would never
Taylor,
want that.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah.
Well, out of the, you see the Keepa graphs, right? You know what we're putting on the buy list. And if we were just to go off of Keepa alone, what would you kind of just say is like an average sales per month that you're kind of thinking that's what Keepa is telling you? And things that we're buying.
For what we're buying, I'd say, 20 to 30 plus sales per month is usually what I would estimate. Now, there are times where I buy stuff that might be 10 or less. I mean, it really there's something about it. I love the profitability, right? If it's an item that's slow selling, but the profit is 80% ROI and we're talking $40 plus, well, cool. I'll lower the price if I need it to sell quickly, but I'm also will buy 3 of those and happily make that type of profit on 3 sales on the month. because I'm buying at one time. It takes me 30 seconds to place the order and get done with it. But
well,
yeah, go ahead.
And let's bring back what we said earlier. Like, there have been seasons, especially this last year, where you and I were on the phone and I was like, Taylor, buy 2 or 3 of every lead, literally, right? Like, I want, like, unless it's like not, maybe an honorable mention that just doesn't quite meet our goals or whatever. But for the most part, just try to buy a little bit of everything so that we can replan the heck out of what works. And we did that, right? And so like, again, you can't pre-assume. Keepa is an indication, right? The sales velocity graph on Keepa is an indication of sales, right? It doesn't necessarily tell you exactly. It could be, you could sell 3 times what you're estimating, or you could sell 3 times less what you're estimating. You have to, what Keepa is there for is to give you a clue on, hey, if you like what you see here, what am I going to buy 3 as a test, or am I going to buy 10? Right? That's really what it's doing. And then ultimately it's the test. And like you mentioned it, the results, right? Our own internal data. How does that listing, or how does our store perform with that listing? And then that tells us how to go buy more, right? But we've never really had a problem where we like don't sell stuff. Like I'll put it this way, guys. Like, I liquidate, or I go through my aged inventory 3 or 4 times a year, where I'll really go, okay, let's go look through the stuff that like the 0.001% of stuff that just hasn't sold, at least with a little bit of profit yet. And then that's when I'm, cutting my losses and getting rid of stuff. The 99 whatever percent of everything else sells at least at some marginal profit. And if you guys understand my model, it's, I'm pretty liberal with my pricing strategy. I want to make at least a little bit of profit, but I also just want to get rid of it. Like, just turn and burn, moving on, right? And so on. So, okay, cool. I think we camped out on that a little bit. Hopefully you guys got some value. Okay, the pajama story. So this is, guys, just some screenshots or some photos. I didn't take nearly as many photos, but of my merchant fulfill batches this year as previous years, I think, because my head was just spinning. It was the busiest I've ever been during this time of year. But I got one good photo of a bunch of stuff that I was taking to the UPS store. But over here in the bottom right-hand corner is, I would say, about 1/3 of some pajamas that we ordered from Walmart, as you can see. And one of the mistakes that we made here, guys, was so there was variations for men's and there was variations for women's. And it wasn't until we spent thousands and thousands of dollars and I had a whole bedroom worth of boxes delivered to my house that we realized, oh my gosh, 3 of these variations, there's some sort of generic issue on the listing and we can't get it listed. And so then I sicked essentially my account manager VA on it, my GM in the Philippines. And we don't really know exactly what happened through the tickets she created and the dialogue she had and the responses that she made on these cases. But eventually I was able to list 1 more variation, and then eventually another, and then eventually the 3rd. So we ultimately got to sell through all of these through peak season, but we really had that moment of like, oh crap, I've got, tons of stuff here that I may not get to list or sell. Like, I'm afraid to return this to Walmart, like, legitly. And so the lesson here, guys, is like, if you're going to drop thousands, if you're going to go deep on something, hey, run it through add a product, go to Seller Central, run it through add a product, and make sure there's no warnings when you try to list it. Just because there's other sellers on the listing doesn't mean that for some reason your account will also be able to list it, even if you're approved. So it's a simple lesson that people, talk about all the time that we didn't exercise and had to learn the hard way. But fortunately, it all worked out. That's my war zone. Like, there it is, guys. There's the battlefield right there. My garage and my setup. You can see, boxes, stacked up to the ceiling in some places, and of course using plenty of spare room in the basement. It was nuts. Glad to say that the vast majority of it is gone. And I've got a massive death pile that has just been staring at me for 2 weeks, but I've been snowboarding. So I got some work to do in that garage right now, but been having some fun.
What did you do with those pajamas, Grant? Did you end up selling them, or?
We ended up selling them all.
You sold them
all merchant fulfill. Yeah, it was a lot. In fact, so there was 8 total variations, none of which were on those screenshots that I showed you, but if I were to take those 8 variations and combine the profit we made from just that one, and it was just one variation that was delivered to, I think it was Cheddar Black, Taylor. Yeah. Cause we, and we turned that into all 8 variations. And if I had to guess, well, if I were to combine it and figure it all out, I bet we made many, many thousands of dollars just off of that one.
I think it was over 2,000.
Just that one lead in itself.
We looked at this. It was over $2,000 of profit that was made on all those variations, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So the lesson is run one of those through your account before you go buy like 400 of something or whatever.
Exactly.
It's on your board. Hey, does anybody else's garage look like Grant's garage? I'm just curious. How many of you guys use prep centers, or how many of you guys have wives or husbands that are like, get the hell out of the garage or get out of the house? I'm just curious if I think that's pretty typical, Grant, for Amazon sellers, whether it's a spare bedroom, the basement, or the garage, where it just, UPS drops it off, it goes open in the door, and then it goes right back out the next day. So,
Hey, real quick, I want to answer this because this is a great question. Brad asked, when you are testing an item, how many units are you usually testing? 3 to 5 units or more than that? And how do you replan ASINs when a lot of the leads on the list are sale items? So great question. Around that 3 to 5 is usually where we're testing out, right? If it's like $100 plus pair of shoes and I have to buy 2 to be able to get the promo to work, I'll only buy 2 of that particular size and color. And then when it comes to replanning, like you're all right. A lot of those items, we buy them on sale. And so what do? We will, if the items are not on sale, we will put a watching tag on them and inside of Cheddar Soft, and say when that source has a sale again, we'll go back to all those leads that have that watching tag from that supplier, and we'll reorder from them then. And you'll come to find is that, websites run sales pretty, almost monthly, right? There's something going on, right? Just like any other business, like they run promotions all the time. So you might not be able to get it the day that you find it to replan, but it doesn't mean that you can't capitalize on it when the sale does happen. And then there are a lot of suppliers that, we have been finding like, hey, these promo codes, even though they're, not publicly available, some of these codes are still working. So, let's try to use the code from when the lead was found, just in case you might get lucky. But for the most part, we are just tagging inside of Cheddar Soft. And over time, guys, you gotta imagine our team is every day looking at what did we sell? Oh, this sold well. And they're tagging things, they're organizing the leads. So over time, when the sale does happen, it's very easy to, type in the supplier's name inside of Cheddar Soft, pull all those leads up. And next thing you know, it's like there's $1,000 we just added to the buy list because of work that we've been doing. Because every day we're doing the same thing. We're constantly organizing, tagging. And so when the opportunity arises, we can strike that iron quickly. And then we don't have to, start from square or, the start.
That's what I love about smart data. It's so easy to put leads in different buckets or put the same lead in multiple buckets, right? Like it's a great system. Cool. Well, that pretty much ends my my part of the show, guys. Thank you for all sticking around and hanging out while we work through that. And I'm going to pass this over to Gabe, and he's going to start talking about, tell you guys about all of the new things we got going on at OA Cheddar. There's some really cool updates. And so I'm excited for this part of the presentation. Stick around.
Awesome. Well, Grant, it's one of my favorite things to talk about is new stuff. And we try and improve our services for y'all and give you guys things that you need. So before we do this part, I'm going to talk about for about 10, 15 minutes, guys, just some of the new stuff that goes on. This is going to directly impact your bottom line. We're restructuring how we're delivering leads lists this year. But first off, I think everyone can identify with your picture, Grant. A lot of y'all said that your basement looks like that. Your playroom looks like that. Someone said Tyler said his wife's on me, I guess, I'm hoping to get out of the house, or else maybe that's a good thing. I'm not for sure. I already said that. So what's new in 25, guys? We can't see you. So when I go through this part of the presentation, if you like one of the new things we did, just put some like clap hands in chat or something. Cause it's always, we're not in the same room together. So I can't get y'all's feedback. This is where I'm going to channel my inner Steve Jobs for this and do like the product unveiling of some new stuff for this year. So what's new for OA Cheddar in 25? Well, we got four big updates, and I think you're really going to like these. We spent a lot of time building these for you guys. First big update, Slashing prices. I need I need a bit better. Whoosh. We found some margin and we want to pass it on to you guys. We know that being a seller is tough. We know everyone's trying to get in your pocket. We get it. We're sellers ourselves. So we found some room. We want to make it better for you guys. So our Cheddar 20 list, instead of being $279, are going to be $249 starting right now. So if we've got a handful of spots, I think most of our Cheddar 20 lists have between 1 and 3 openings. So if you've been looking for an excuse to grab one of our Cheddar 20 lists, these are just mixed lists, guys. It's our bread and butter. Those are $249. And we carved off the cream of our top level list. Our Nike Plus list was sold out for the longest time at $325. We've got a handful of spots, probably around 5 on that list. And we're slashing prices on Nike Plus. We're going to rename the name of this. We can't call it Nike, so it'll probably be like Nike. It'll be Cheddar Shoes Plus or something in the near future. But 2 things on this. One, if you go to oacheddar.com right now, you can jump on the shoes list for $279. I don't know what % off that is, Grant. That's about as much margin as we can afford to carve off. And 2, if you are a subscriber of Nike Plus, your subscription next month will automatically be reflected. So you're welcome. I don't know. Again, I don't know a lot of companies that pass on savings and automatically pass it on to y'all. But Lori says, yay. So appreciate it. If you guys like cheaper prices on our high-end stuff, put some clap hands in chat, okay? We're pumped about this too. So that's the first big update. Better value. Number 2, big update. We have been asked this question for years, Grant. We've been asked this question. Can you provide a beginner-friendly list? And we're still working out the details of how to separate gated and ungated products. But basically what we did, and I've seen this support ticket come in over the years time and time again. Like, I love your service. I love OA Cheddar. Y'all just give me too many leads. I can't buy all of them. Mm-hmm. I'm a part-time person. I'm just getting started. I just want to get my feet wet. I don't need 200 leads a month. I'm not going to buy all those. Grant, you proved it. You only buy about 22% of what gets delivered. So if you're looking for a light option, we're now, for the first time ever, we called it Cheddar Lite. It's half the leads for half the price. Comes up to about 100 leads per month. These are all still mixed categories, and it's less than $100. So $99 subscription. You don't got to pay $200 a month or $250 for a premium list if you're a beginner, or even if you're a veteran. Ed Dassey, a lot of you guys on here that don't need another full list. You just want to supplement. Jump on Cheddar Lite. So here's the deal with Cheddar Lite. There's 25 spots on that list. We're revealing it today for the first time. There's over 75 of you that are still on live with us. This has actually been our best attended webinar of the whole year. It's January 10th. It's the only webinar we've had all year. Okay. But as soon as this webinar is over, I'm going to go prepare an email and send it out to our list. And we typically get about 500 people to open our emails. And so the word's going to get out after this webinar. So if you'd like to grab one of those spots on Cheddar Lite, we only have one of those lists currently. You can do that. So how many of y'all are pumped about Cheddar Lite, a beginner friendly list? Bonnie predicts that Cheddar Lite will sell out in 24 hours. You're probably correct. I would assume so as well. We typically sell out of these quickly. But we're going to send this out to you guys. And if you guys like it, we may or may not produce more. Right now, this is what we got. Full transparency. When we put this presentation together, our inspiration was, let's put our very best foot forward to start the new year. Let's just give them everything we have. And if it sells out, it sells out. So that's big announcement number 2. Lori likes it. She says, yes. Steven says, I love it. So what is Feta? Let's just spend a quick second on Feta. Taylor, I'm gonna talk to you about Feta. Feta is probably one of our most it's an underdog. Like, it's got tremendous value and a lot of people skip over it. So I'll give a quick summary, Taylor, then I'll let you talk on this. Originally, Feta was, any lead that didn't meet one of our lead criteria, instead of having $5 net profit, it had $4.50. Instead of selling 20 sales per month, it sold 18. It was just underneath that threshold. And so we used to call them good, not great leads. These are fantastic products. These are great for rabbit trailing. There's a lot less competition on these. And typically the products on Feta, because the profit is a little bit less than our standard, they sell faster. So if you're looking for great inventory to boost your account metrics, if you're looking for a great list that not a lot of sellers source off of fresh data, Feta is a great list for that. And we don't promote it enough, but it's probably worth everyone having in their tool belt. So Taylor, anything else you'd say about Feta?
Yeah, like you were saying, Feta is, there are leads that they don't meet every one of our, criteria for a top shelf lead for a Cheddar list. It says here 7 to 10 leads, but I would say that number is actually really low. We deliver more on Feta than we do on other lists, just because, it kind of catches leads that there's just a lot more leads for us to put on that list compared to a normal Cheddar list, because there's only one list that we deliver those types of leads to. I think it's a great rabbit trailing list for those who are looking to rabbit trail and expand. It gives you a starting off point, and lots of leads for a cheap price. There are a lot of leads that end up on Feta first and then will become a Cheddar lead in the future because things change with that product. So I like it for getting data. There are leads I source from that list because I like the profitability and I'm okay with maybe the slower sales, or I like how fast an item sells and I'll take the lower profitability because it's a consistent seller. And so those are the types of leads that you find on this list. I think it's great for somebody who is, they're starting Amazon and their goal really is to try to get as many orders and sales underneath their belt as possible. So that way they can get auto ungated in brands and categories and grow their store. And I think this is a great list for it, because you're going to find that, you might have an item that's making a $3 profit, consistently selling and sells 100 plus times a month, that you can buy and just constantly replenish and keep selling. And that helps boost your seller metrics. It helps, bring in consistent cash flow. And then also these leads do change over time, right? Just because they're not as profitable or maybe don't sell as fast the day that we share them, it doesn't mean that, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, as the competition goes down, that it doesn't rebound. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think it's a great list. I know there's a lot of folks who get on that list. We have a lot of people who've been on that list for a very long time, because these are the rabbit trailers and they utilize those leads, whether it's today or in the future, or if they're using the rabbit trail. Like it is a good list, and it for $100 and the amount of leads that you get, like I'm pretty sure we average around 12 to 13 leads per day on that list.
It's a good deal. And I wish we really, I feel bad for Feta. Like we don't promote him enough. He's a good little dude. He's value added list. Couple cool comments here. Can we try them and cancel, or is there a year-long commitment? Yes, there's a 5-year contract that you are locked in with, and if you leave the contract, no, I'm just joking.
We take your firstborn.
Yeah, grab it. No, there's no annual contract. This is what keeps us honest. You can jump on, you can jump off. So if you're even thinking about Cheddar Lite, I would go to oacheddar.com right now before I even get to the formal pitch, like call to action slide, and just go grab it. See if you like it. So here's the difference too. Where is this comment? Let me go back here. Okay, Robert had it. So Cheddar Lite or Feta. So, here's the difference. Cheddar Lite is like any of our normal OA Cheddar lists, has the same standard. It's just half as many leads for $99 a month. Okay, so it's still like $1 a lead. You're just going to get about 100 leads a month. Feta, we shove full of leads. It's probably it says 7 to 10, but like Taylor said, it's not uncommon to have 10, 12, 13, 14 plus leads on there. It's a little bit lower standard. So it missed our normal cutoff. Our quality control team flagged it and said, it's not selling enough per month. The net profit is under our $5 minimum. There's some kind of trigger that it would fall off our normal list and it goes on Feta. Now that does not mean that it's a bad lead. There's a lot of great rabbit trails. Like for Leah, and those of you guys that rabbit trailing it, for those of you that answered your number 2 or number 3 a few minutes ago, if you are doing that kind of stuff, Feta is fantastic for that type of sourcing, mainly because it flies under the radar. Most sellers, the psychology in our space, and after working with sellers for 8 years now in this industry, people think that if it's not a top tier lead, like I'm going to skip it. And so a lot of people skip over Feta leads. There's a lot of great rabbit trailing That happens in there. So that's the difference. If you're a beginner and you're just getting started, I'd probably push you towards Cheddar Lite. You're going to find juicier leads there, just less of them. Feta is a great add-on for everybody. So if you're a subscriber and you're on 1, 2, 3 of our list, I would add Feta for $100 a month. Add those leads, give them to your VA, and let them rabbit trail and go ham on it. I think it's just it's a great value.
Let me jump in real quick. I want to be clear. We have a very complex set of standards for profitability, either ROI or net. So not every lead you're going to find on any of our lists is going to have a firm minimum, let's say, net profit or firm minimum ROI. We use a handful of different variations of standards that are because we found that there's just way too many leads that would fall into the Feta category, essentially, that we're like, this is a Cheddar quality lead. It's just not meeting one of these little minor standards. So we actually have a variation. We're not going to dive into the details of that on this call. We can't, but the way to find out exactly what we're delivering is obviously to subscribe and investigate yourself. But I love the fact that for $99 a month as a new seller, I feel like for $99 a month, you're literally like hiring an OA expert to just send you a text message every day. Hey, check this out. Right? You could subscribe to any of our list for that matter, and not buy anything off of the list and find tons of leads. So if you want to be that guy that's, or you desire, or you're working towards being an absolute expert sourcer, this is a great place to just launch your day every day. Start your day with even if you're going to a job and coming and you're not able to source until the evening and the leads, some of them have maybe expired. That's okay. Leverage those leads for education. It'll teach you promo cycles. It'll teach you what sources are good. It'll teach you what brands are profitable and so much more. Again, a leads list is more than leads to buy. Like it's 5x the lead. Like there's just so much more to it. There's so many more layers to a leads list that, we're only giving you the starting point.
That's right. So, cool. Lori was asking where to buy. It's just oacheddar.com. You click on OA leads on the top and then scroll down. All these changes are on the site. So that's big update number 2. I think we're on 2. Number 3, I should do like a drum roll. Okay. I'm probably most excited about this, guys. I'm excited about Cheddar Lite, and I'm excited for the first time ever we are releasing a beauty list. So this is for the ladies and the men who source beauty. Beauty is a great category. You find a ton of beauty products. And a lot of you have been asking for years, can you start niching out your list? Like I like the mixed list, but I can't buy a lot of the stuff. So if you're we're going to start moving this direction this year. This beauty list is open now. There's less than 20 members. We had a couple people sneak in this morning before we even announced it. There's still 70 of you that are on live. There's only 20 seats. There's probably 18, 17 seats as of now. And when we get off the webinar, I'm going to send this email out and this list will most likely fill out. So we talked about it. We were going to release this as a $279 list, and in the sake of passing value on to you guys, we're just putting our best foot forward. So $249 a month for the beauty list, health and beauty. These are juicy products. Taylor, you guys source a lot of these. And same thing for Nike Plus. Again, this is our shoe list. $279 a month. Shoes are a little bit juicier on the profit margin. Beauty typically sells a little faster. Taylor, anything you'd speak into? You guys source both of these. Anything people can expect from beauty versus clothing and shoes?
Yeah, so beauty items are usually going to bring in a lower net profit than a shoe item will. Okay, the Nike list is definitely our most profitable net profit list. You're going to see a lot of $20 net profit bills and things like that on that list. Whereas with the beauty, you should see more faster selling products, smaller net profit because the buy cost is also lower as well. So that just kind of makes sense there. And then what I'm excited about with this health and beauty list is that, for beauty sellers, this is fantastic, right? And for those who maybe are not the biggest fan of beauty and maybe that's not their niche, the OA Cheddar lists are about to get less beauty leads on there, which means it's going to make room for other leads. So it's a win-win, right? If you're a beauty seller, here's a list for you. You can't go wrong with it. And if you're not a beauty seller, the Cheddar lists are where you're going to want to gravitate towards because they're just going to get better.
I got to give a shout out to Martin, dude. Martin's been throwing some praises. He says, I love cheddar and I'm skeptical. So thank you, Martin, for being, I think that's the honest, I think a lot of people can probably identify with how you feel. I think a lot of us are skeptical of things on the internet. Hopefully you guys have seen us around for enough years. You know, we're real people. You can reach out to us. And we're in the game with you guys. Like, we're in the same boat with y'all. So I appreciate that. So Cheddar Beauty, if you guys want it, if you're even thinking about beauty, go subscribe to it. Go source for 2-3 months and then come back and tell us how much you love it. That would make my heart feel warm. We drink your feedback like it's water. Like, we love it. Ask Grant too. Our team just loves it. So thank you for that. So that's big update. Number 2. Looks like Robert just signed up for Cheddar Lite. So awesome, Robert.
Big
update
number up. So if you want on one of these lists, guys, be on it, because I do feel like we're going to be selling out of them here soon.
So last big update for this year, guys. We did something with Cheddar Black this year. And for those of you guys, if you're brand new around here, Cheddar Black's just our Q4 group. Excuse me. We share Q4 leads specifically to this group, and we did a hangout with this community about once a week throughout Q4. People loved it. You could jump on. I mean, essentially, it's group coaching with 7-figure sellers and networking with other peers in your group. And we had such great feedback from that. Grant had this idea. He said, hey, why don't we just roll this out to all of our subscribers for our list? Like, let's be available for them. Let's pour into our community. For years, we just gave you guys leads, and we kind of, I mean, that's the game that we played. And now we want to play the game of how do we make a bigger impact? How do we prosper you? And so part of that's going to be with these hangouts. So these are going to be Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Taylor's going to host these, and you guys can jump on and off as you please. Network with other sellers. You don't have to leave your house. You can do this on your lunch hour, and it's a value add. So a lot of you guys, I saw a question earlier. One of you said, hey, how do I get a hold of you on the phone? This is probably better than that, because you can go connect. And Grant, I don't think you'd mind me sharing this, but you said from personal and selfish reasons, you wanted to host these hangouts because you learned from our customers. You said more than you think they learn from us. And so you said, hey, I think your words verbatim were, I'm not the guy that's sitting on all the forums, keeping up with all the news. So if I had a place, where a room that I could jump in and catch up on things for the week, and you had 30 other people that were all bringing information to a call, that'd be value added for you. So sometimes these calls have 5 people on them. Sometimes they have 20. It kind of depends on the day, but these are going to be available for you guys Wednesdays at 1 p.m. And these are for subscribers only. So if you're subscribed to 1 or 10 of our lists, it doesn't matter. We're going to send out an email. Taylor will start sending out that email to customers on Wednesday mornings for that 1 p.m. Eastern. So same time that this call today, except for on Wednesdays, is when that call will be for y'all. Okay. So those are our 4 big hangouts. A lot of you guys know this. Some of you don't. We're here for you. Taylor responds to all the support chats. So on oacheddar.com, on the bottom right-hand corner of the website, there's a little button. Click on that, and you can talk directly to Taylor. Like, if you got a question about a lead, if you want to tell him how handsome he is in his wedding picture here, whatever, you can do that. Like, we don't hide behind the computer. We're here for you guys. We want to support you, and we want to see you prosper, because when you prosper, we prosper, and we get that. Okay. So a lot of people don't realize that that's available for you. So what's your plan of action? Well, hopefully you are heading over to oacheddar.com. We want to inspire you to stock up on leads. Okay. I hope you saw Grant's story today. He made an extra $100,000. Like, how many of you guys would love an extra 100K in 2025? And I had a mentor share this with me years ago. Every 100 grand counts. Okay. I want you to start saying this to yourself. Every 100K counts. Don't be too proud to make an extra 20K this year doing merchant fulfilling. Like, you can pay for Christmas. You could 8x your investment on Cheddar Black just doing merchant fulfilling. So stock up on leads. We're at a rare point in the season where we have openings on our list. So I would get on them while you can. Head over to oacheddar.com and click on the leads, and you can scroll down and join one of these lists. Taylor has got real-time updates here. I'm not for sure how many beauty spots we have open left. How many, I think Nike had 4 or 5 seats as of this morning. I'm sure a couple of those have been taken, and most of our 20-person lists are just about full. So there is a little bit of room. You've got a little window of opportunity, but you've got to take action now to secure those and get on those lists. Okay. What the website looks like, it's all nice and laid out. When they sell out, you'll see the buttons change. So as long as that button is open, it's still orange, that join now button, then you can squeeze on one of those lists. So spots are limited, guys. This isn't like this is a scarcity thing, but it's also real. We believe in integrity. We believe in doing what we say we're going to do. We've kicked people off of lists before because they're too full, and we've kicked people off of Cheddar Black before because it's been too full. So this has happened. Once they fill out, they're full, and they stay full until they're not. So go grab those while y'all can. So, and then lastly, after you sign up for 1 or 2 lists, hopefully some of you have grabbed the beauty list and the Cheddar Lite list today. That'd make me very happy. Just keep an eye on your email for that invite to the weekly hangouts, the group coaching calls. And I want you guys to take advantage of this. There's a lot of group coaching in our industry that's 2, 3, 4, 5K, 10K plus for basically the same thing. And we're just giving this to you as a value add just for being a subscriber. So that email will get sent to you on Wednesday mornings, and then we're going to rotate that room every single month to keep it fresh, that link. So these are Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. I believe we're using Zoom for that. Correct, Taylor?
Yes, we are using Zoom.
Cool. We're using Zoom for that. So oacheddar.com. You guys can go over there right now and subscribe to those. And we want to say thank you. Thanks for being a customer. Thanks for being a subscriber. I just want to acknowledge all you guys for taking time to be with us here today. This game isn't easy, and we get that. Like selling on Amazon, it used to be easy. It's still simple, but it's gotten harder over the years. But we want to acknowledge you guys for putting in the work and doing this for your families, your wives, your husbands, your kids. Like they may never see the sacrifice you guys make, and we get it. So I just want to give you like a virtual, if I could give each one of you guys a high five. There's 68 of y'all that are on this call still. We appreciate you guys. So that concludes our presentation. We're going to stick around for a few minutes for Q&A. I'm just going to give a couple quick shout outs. Leah, appreciate you being on here as always. Bunch of you guys. Robert Jackson, thanks for your feedback. Appreciate you. Thanks for subscribing to Cheddar Lite. Hope you love it. Martin Stevens says thanks. Appreciate you, Martin. So very cool. So that concludes the presentation. We'll wrap up the formal part. And then if you guys want to stick around for just a few minutes, we'll take a couple questions. If y'all got some, this is a good chance while we're all on here together. And for those of you that are still signing up, appreciate you as well.
Cool. There is a handful of questions I want to make sure we address. This one, for example, we've responded a little bit in the chat. The answer is no. You do not need to pay for Cheddar Soft subscription in order to be an OA Cheddar leadless subscriber. We deliver the leads through Cheddar Soft, and all you need is a free account. Okay. Taylor, is there a way for them to create a free account right out of the gate, or do they have to?
So when you guys sign up, if it's your first time ever signing up with us, you will have you'll be emailed a link where you can sign up for a Cheddar Soft account for free, no credit card needed. It will unlock a 30-day full access trial. So you can try out the full access of Cheddar Soft, utilize the buy list, the orders, smart data. Honestly, it's fantastic. If you have questions, reach out to me. Without any threat of being charged. If you don't add a credit card, it will just transfer over to a free account where you can log in, access your leads. The good thing is, guys, is we keep a record of all your leads that you've purchased from us. So if you ever need to go back, say you forget to download leads from a month ago, that's all right there for you, right? Even if you stopped subscribing with us, your account still lives, so you can still access your leads at any time.
Awesome. The next one, can we have a multi-lead discount? The answer to that, Raphael, right now is no. We're giving you guys the best deal we can. That's why we cut prices on Cheddar 20 and Nike. That's the best we've got. I don't know if you want to address that.
Well, it's just hard. We've had this question. We don't have the tech to do this, guys, and our margins are thin. Some of y'all think we're getting rich off leads. We are not. We make a very humble, honest living off this. And as soon as we have any kind of margin, we give it to you guys. That's why we shaved off our Nike list and our beauty list and are making it the way it is. So,
will there be
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. There's just one I wanted to make sure I hit on. Will there be a recording for these sessions if we can't join them live? So you're speaking on the weekly hangouts as an OA Cheddar subscriber. We will record those, and you will have access to any of the calls as long as you are subscribed.
They will be emailed. They will be emailed out the Thursday following the Wednesday call.
Yes. Robert says, "Dope. Thanks, Taylor. Appreciate you, Robert." Got to give a shout out to Ed Dassey, one of the OGs. Ed's been with us for years. You guys are awesome as always. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for always giving value, serving us in our business. So happy to have found you years ago. So Ed, I'll give you some knuckles, man. That's not a punch in the face. That's knuckles.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Ed. Ed's one of the good guys. If you guys see Ed in the group, he's always giving, contributing. So I think there's definitely something to be said about those of you that give and how you prosper. There's something in that. Okay. Quick question. John said, is there any updates on the new software to replace Cheddar Soft?
Yes.
So SourceFlow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we do have some updates. This is going to be a separate webinar in the near future. We'll probably talk about this some more. I did just get done yesterday going through some testing on the new version, which is called SourceFlow. The guys on the team have done a very good job getting that pretty much ready. We are going to be moving into alpha very, very soon. There's a little bit more testing I want to do. Here's the thing, guys. If I can find things that need to be fixed and repaired, I'm going to get those things done before I hand it over to you. I don't want to waste anybody's time testing out a program where they're going to be identifying the same stuff that we have already identified. So we're just knocking out those updates, making sure that the thing is, as ready as it possibly can be. Then we're going to hand it over, and then from there, we'll be seeing a launch here soon. So, get yourself ingrained. I'll say for those who are like, oh, well, hey, I'm going to wait for the new software before I, dive into Cheddar Soft now. If you're familiar with Cheddar Soft, learning SourceFlow is going to be a breeze. It's going to be, you're going to already be, pretty much well trained in all the basics. And
all your lead data will port over. So,
yep. I got one question I want to answer too, just for all those on the live still. So when does Cheddar Lite go live? I just signed up. Great question. So normally our system will deliver the next business day after you've signed up. But what I'm going to be doing after this call is I will be going through and I'll be unlocking manually all the leads list for both the Beauty and Cheddar Lite. Not just for today though. I'm going to unlock all of this week's leads because we've been delivering this since Monday. Might as well. Week? I'm going to give them the whole week. So if you guys signed up now, I'm going to be unlocking all of the leads for the whole week in your account now. After this call, I'll send out an email to those lists, letting them know once that's been completed. But I just got manually.
Just to clarify, this is for Beauty and Lite?
Cheddar Lite and Beauty. For any signups that we've had happen, I'm going to unlock this week's worth of leads because we've been delivering it. And,
nobody's seen them yet.
Yeah, nobody's seen them.
That's cool. I didn't even know that. So did you guys catch that? So if you sign up for Lite and or Beauty or both, Taylor is going to unlock the whole week's worth of leads. Nobody has seen these leads yet. Like Grant and Taylor haven't sourced off it. Nobody's bought off these leads. These are the freshest grapes you can get, right? Lori says, sweet. If you guys like that, say thanks, Taylor. I like your hair or something. Give Taylor some love. He's a cuddly guy. He likes the love. Lori says she did nicely on Cheddar Black 24. Looking forward to Light and Beauty. Awesome. Wonderful. Makes us feel so good, Lori, to hear that. And glad to see that you did well and that you're on both of those lists. I just checked, Grant, we had 21 a second ago of you guys jumped on these, 22 that have bought lead lists from here. So congratulations to all of you that have grabbed one already. Appreciate you. Lori says, sweet. So very cool. Well, appreciate you guys being on. Seriously, thank you guys for being a subscriber. You guys feel like family, and we hope to see you on the Hangouts. Last comment I'll make on this. Grant made a comment the other day. He's like, I feel like I know these people is the word. Yes, he called you guys you people. That's a show on Netflix. It's a funny show with Eddie Murphy, by the way. But yeah, come to the Hangouts. We want to see you. Like, get off it. Really, this game. A lot of people come to Amazon, and I get this. A lot of us had like network marketing backgrounds and things like that in the past, and we got like sick of talking to people. So we're like, hey, if I can just like buy socks, sell it on the internet, and not have to talk to anybody, that sounds good. But I want to encourage you. This is a people game, and you got to make connections. You got to get outside of your computer, and that's part of why we're doing those group coaching calls. I don't know how long we're going to do them, so take advantage of them while you have them. That's what I can say. Take advantage of them while you have them. Anita says Taylor is awesome. Taylor is awesome.
Thank you, Anita.
Just subscribe to Nike and Feta. Can you explain the difference between free Cheddar Soft and the paid version? So I think Taylor said this, but very, very quickly, the free version will allow you to access all of your leads in one easy place. You can download them into spreadsheets. What it won't let you do is it won't let you use smart data to sort and filter all of your leads based on categories and profit. It won't let you add orders to buy lists. You can basically just see your leads, and that's basically what you can do. So the paid version unlocks everything else on the platform.
Yep. Yeah. Basically what Gabe said, there's features beyond just getting your leads that Cheddar Soft does. Lead and order management. We run Grant and I's business, our FBA business runs completely on Cheddar Soft. So everything is done there. We source our leads. We create buy lists. We provide feedback on our buy list to our team using that feature. We record all of our inventory purchases through Cheddar Soft. It makes it really easy to keep things organized and track things out. There's a bunch of that does. So
yeah.
Sorry, I think you were pulling that up too, buddy.
Yeah, it's okay. So so how do you add a list on top of the ones you have? So if you're subscribed to, let's say you're on 2 lists already and you want to add a third one, just go to oacheddar.com and click join today on the beauty list or the Nike list or the Lite or whatever, and it'll automatically get added to your Cheddar Soft back office.
Yep. Please use the same email address for all your subscriptions. Okay.
Yes.
If for a seamless delivery, that's what we need. So if you didn't contact me through chat, I'll make sure you get straightened out. Right. If you sign up for a list, you don't see it at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Reach out to me in chat. We'll make sure whatever is wrong, we'll get it fixed. Yep. We are there for you guys every morning when delivery happens. We are there. So if you have something that happens after delivery that you don't see your leads, don't wait. Contact us. We'll be able to get it fixed right away.
It happens from time to time. So Lori says, is Lite a mixed list? Yes. Lite is just like that Cheddar 20 list on the screen. It's just half the leads, half the price. Okay. It's actually a better value. 25 people instead of 20.
Yeah.
Yes, mixed categories, Lori, as on those. Second question, how do we get notified of Wednesday's Hangouts? So if you are a customer and you're subscribed, Taylor will be sending out the link to join those Zooms on a Wednesday morning. Okay, so we will send that out. You'll get it via an email, and then you can use that same link to join all 4 Hangouts for that month. It'll be the same link, and then it'll refresh the following month. So if you get that email, you can just bookmark that link. I would go ahead, if y'all are interested, I would go ahead and set a reminder on your phone just right now for Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're not going to do a lot of email broadcasting. You're going to get one email the morning of with the link, and that's probably about it. So set the reminder. If you want to come, please come. So appreciate you, Lori.
I got to say, I am super excited about the Hangouts. I can't wait to connect with our subscribers. It's been an absolute blessing meeting with Cheddar Black clients every week. As you said earlier, I've learned so much as a 10-year veteran. Like I was mentioning, you mentioned it, but it's like, I'm not the guy, I can't keep up with all the updates and important information that's going on in our community. But I feel like these Hangouts are like, it filters down like the stuff that I absolutely need to know, because they show up with like questions or comments or feedback on changes that are happening in the marketplace, that changes that Amazon has made, etc. And it's just been really awesome. So that's probably out of all, I want you guys to buy leads, right? Because, obviously that's how you get access to the calls and whatnot. But as of all the things we rolled out today, the Hangouts are by far my favorite. I'm the most excited about, and it's the biggest commitment for me. So that kind of says something, right? Because I don't like to commit my time very, very much these days. But this is one of those things where it's like a no-brainer for me to show up every week and hang out. So.
Yep, for sure. So Dwight, I think you have the last question. So it's got a challenge with uploading stuff. So if you just email us, I'm going to put the email in chat so it's not on the It's not on the recording. Shoot us an email, and Taylor will be happy to connect with you and help you get work through the kinks on that.
Dwight, you can just send me the file on chat and let me know what lead list you're trying to upload it to, and I will make a Loom video and send it back to you, showing what needs to be done.
Yes. A couple questions, and I'm going to say we're going to wrap up. So, Kaleem, how can I watch the replay of this meeting? As soon as this is over, I'm going to go work on the email to get out. Taylor is going to work on getting you guys leads. So probably it'll be later today or in the morning. This is a long file. It's like a 2-hour recording. We got to edit it down. As soon as it's ready, we'll trim it up and we'll get it sent out to you guys, assuming this thing did record. So, but want to say thanks, Kaleem, Dwight, Lori, Bradley, Anita, Jeff, Scott, Tim Fout. There's a bunch of you guys. Ed Dassey, Raphael, Robert Jackson, John Patterson. Appreciate you guys and gals. Thanks for being on with us. It's a lot of fun serving you guys, and I hope you enjoy the new list. Hope you guys are as pumped about it as we are. So
let's go crush it.
Let's go crush it. All right, that's it. We're out of here. We need to get a clean recording. So we're going to go get back to work. You guys have an awesome day. Grant, thanks for your hard work. Taylor, thanks for your diligence. And for all Taylor does a lot of thankless work behind the scenes. So appreciate you, Taylor, for serving everybody. Robert Jackson, super pumped. Appreciate you. Giovanni, appreciate you. Robert, thanks for being on here, guys. Have an awesome day.
Awesome.
We'll see you soon.